We begin here at home, where weeks after the Port Harcourt Refinery came back on stream, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has said the 125,000 barrels per day Warri Refining and Petrochemicals Company has commenced operations. The Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPC Limited, Mele Kyari, announced this when he led some top management staff and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority on a tour of the refinery. Kyari acknowledged that many had doubted the feasibility of the project, but emphasized that the facility is now well on its way to 100% completion. The refinery was inaugurated in 1978 when General Olusegun Obasanjo was head of state. Located in Ekpan, Uvi and Ubeji in Warri, the refinery produces 13,000 tons of polypropylene and 18,000 tons of carbon black annually. The Federal Executive Council had in August 2021 approved the contract award for the rehabilitation of Warri and Kaduna refineries at $1.5 billion.
I must congratulate our team for their determination, their extreme belief that this company can restart this plant. And this has brought this result on the table in collaboration with our contractors and everyone in the company, including our retired staff. I would like to thank them and appreciate them that we have made history, that it is possible to start a plant that you deliberately shut down. It is possible, and we have proved this. Also, secondly, this plant has 3 stages. We have started the plant 1, which is, we call it Area 1, the fuels plant. It is able to produce AGO, kerosene, naphtha, and also a blend of fuel oil. And these are high-grade quality products that are required in the country, and we may also have a need to export them. So it's going to give us cash. This company will make money, and the promise of Mr. President that this country must be a net exporter of petroleum products is already happening. Some of these products will go to the international market, and I would like to thank all of you. But more importantly, I must put on record that Mr. President's onerous belief that we can get this to work, that we can get these plans to start, and giving us the charge that you must start all 3 refineries. It's already happening. We have successfully started the Port Harcourt Refinery, the 60,000 barrels per day oil refinery. We have started the Area 1, the fuels plants, the Warri Refinery. The other plants that will produce PMS are being streamed, and they will also come live. And lastly, Kaduna is also on stream. We are not going to give you this, but we'll surprise you again, as we said the other time. Kaduna will start.
Warri Refinery, Area 1, which we understand is producing products, naphtha, fuel oil, and AGO. And by the time second part of it comes on, there can be, as it is today, actually, they can be blending the naphtha to produce gasoline. But when the next area comes on, it will be producing gasoline directly. It is important to note that these achievements has been enjoyed by Nigerian public because for the first time in more than a decade or 2 decades, we have had the Unitide, which is October, November, December, January years without fuel queues and fuel all over the country, not only Lagos and Abuja. So this is an indication of the determination of our leader, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for his focus and determination by pushing both the regulator and the NNPC to ensure that these plants come on stream, and including the investors, because we also have modular refineries that are scattered around the country that are also producing gas oil and kerosene.
Now, reacting to the reopening of the Warri Refining and Petrochemical Company by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, President Bola Tinubu has expressed his profound joy, describing it as another remarkable achievement in 2024 that has strengthened Nigerians' hope in his administration. The president, in a release issued by his advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, again expressed his administration's determination to ramp up local refining capacity and make Nigeria a hub for downstream industrial activities in Africa. President Tinubu noted with confidence that with the 125,000 barrel per day Warri Refinery now operating at 60% capacity, his administration's comprehensive plan to ensure energy efficiency and security is on course. He praised the Mele Kyari-led management of the NNPCL for working hard to restore Nigeria's glory and pride as a major oil-producing country. So some positive news coming out there, although, of course, many are moving with a little bit of cautious optimism after what we saw transpire with the kickoff of the Port Harcourt Refinery. What's your take on this?
Thank you very much, Vimbai. So, honestly, let me not start with, I'll still go there, but let me not start with skepticism as a result of what we have experienced. And it's not unfounded. It's actually as a result of what has happened in the past and now seeing that this news is coming out. First of all, let me say congratulations. Great news on the surface of things. If you recall, we have had promises from the NNPCL, from Mr. Mele Kyari himself when he was on this show, that the refineries operated by the NNPCL would come into stream before the end of this year. Actually, it assured us that Port Harcourt would come on stream by August of this year, and in the first quarter of next year, would see Warri Refinery and Kaduna Refinery. They weren't able to meet up to the deadline of the Port Harcourt Refinery, but what we then got was a mechanical completion of the refinery. Now, what we're seeing is a 60%, according to them, completion of the Warri Refinery, which is going to be then the second. Now, a few things to just ask is, I hope that the lessons learned from the announcement of the Port Harcourt Refinery would come on bear. Because I don't even know if we're still able to operate and if oil marketers are able to lift from Port Harcourt Refinery. Remember all the stories we heard? He said, oh, we're loading, they are not loading, we are there, they are not there. So just a lot of confusion. Hence, you can understand the trust deficits for a lot of Nigerians in the NNPCL. Now, what does this mean for us? Remember also that they talked about privatizing the Warri and Kaduna Refinery by next year. They were looking to put out the contract for operations and maintenance of these refineries, saying that despite the trillions of naira that have been spent on these refineries for many years, over the last few years, a couple of years actually, number of years, it hasn't worked. So we've been seeing budget allocation to maintenance or trying to, revive these refineries, but nothing. So just draining the resources. So it's good news to see that at least we can plug that drainage. Beyond that is also the conversation around saving for our much needed and much precious foreign exchange. The implication of the Warri Refinery coming on stream is that we're now going to be able to see a lot more, because the capacity is 125,000 barrels per day. If this happens, when we reach 100%, it means that we might be closer to meeting our daily 2.05 million barrels per day as promised or as pegged by the budget 2025. Then it also would reduce our reliance on using foreign exchange to import fuel, putting in consideration Dangote Refinery, Port Harcourt Refinery, Warri Refinery. That is fantastic news for Nigeria. That means that the much needed resources can be channeled, better channeled to, to building infrastructure and the likes. But again, what a lot of people will be asking is, we hope that this is not just PR, that it's actually working. They said you can see the people who went to inspect the refinery and they're coming out, with positive news saying, yes, this is a triumph, this is a win for us towards the end of the year. In the next few days, we will see what will happen. I think it will uncover a lot of things. We can also go in there to see just how true and how, whether or not they're able to go on to begin to lift petrol from there. But congratulations. We hope that this will continue. And by the first quarter of next year, we'll see 100% completion and then moving on to Kaduna Refinery.
In terms of the optics, I think the Tinubu administration and NNPC Limited, under the watch of the group CEO, Mele Kyari, have both been able to change the narrative about refineries in Nigeria. One of the sore points of the Nigerian polity has been the fact that Nigeria is adjudged to be the 6th largest producer of crude oil in the world. But despite that, Nigeria is not able to refine its own products, and the refineries do not work. And this has been at the heart of agitations by civil society, by organized labor, to say, why are these refineries not working? The narrative is that in 2021, the Warri administration committed, through FEC, $1.48 billion to the rehabilitation of these refineries that have become comatose. In 8 years, the Warri administration could not achieve the objective, in terms of its aspirations to fix the nation's refineries. So to that extent, you may say, it is an achievement for the Tinubu administration to give us a good story as the year ends. On the eve of the new year, there's this good story all over the newspapers that the Warri Refinery is now working, a 125,000 capacity refinery. I will come to that subject later. But just to say that on November 26th, President Tinubu gave a marching order for these refineries to be fixed. And now we were told the Port Harcourt refinery had come on stream, even at 60,000 barrels per day capacity. And now, as the year ends, we're told Warri Refinery. All of a sudden, these refineries that have been comatose have have returned to operation, with about $900 million being spent on the Warri Refinery. Now to the details. Mr. Mele Kyari, or Engineer Mele Kyari, says Kaduna Refinery is going to be next. When would that happen? Because Kaduna Refinery are the pipelines to the Kaduna Refinery in operation. We have one refinery in Kaduna. We have, I think, 2 in Port Harcourt and 1 in Warri, 4 refineries total. What is the status of the pipelines that will take crude to those places? I say this because pipeline vandalism has been a problem. Without crude, those refineries that have been rehabilitated cannot even function effectively. Are they going to ferry crude oil to those locations in trucks, or are they going to use barges? That's number one question. I was talking about people praising the administration, or how this is an achievement for the Tinubu administration. Governor Bago of Niger State also specifically praised President Tinubu and the NNPC Limited. But I think the praise in this particular matter, with what we have seen on the eve of the new year, should go to the Nigerian people, journalists particularly, public commentators, organized labor, civil society in general, that have been pushing the argument over the years that we cannot have state-owned public enterprises that do not function. And the refineries were top of that demand. Now, if these refineries are working, the next question to ask about Port Harcourt and Warri is sustainability, is efficiency. Mr. Mele Kyari said there are many people who don't think this is real. People don't believe real things can happen in this country. I'm quoting Engineer Mele Kyari directly. Yes, people are skeptical. And that is why the efficiency of these 2 refineries that we say are now in operation should be seen to build trust. Otherwise, Nigerians will think, oh, this is another audio. Nigerians have every reason to distrust public enterprises, publicly owned enterprises, because of the way they have performed over the years. Now, the third or fourth leg of the analysis will be that, again, 2024 was the year of the Dangote Refinery. Dangote Refinery came on stream, 650,000 barrels of finished products, finished fuel, per day. And now all of a sudden, the Nigerian government says, Port Harcourt Refinery is now working, Warri Refinery is always working. So you see how private sector can even put pressure on government, to perform and meet the people's expectations. Mr. Kyari was honest enough to say that the Warri Refinery is not fully completed yet. What they have completed is the refinery unit. There's also a petrochemical unit and other units. How soon will they do it? Finally, on the question of crude, I end with that to say that, look, what we know under the crude swap program, Nigerian crude oil is already committed to, I think, not ExxonMobil, Afreximbank. It's also committed to other entities that have, given money to the Nigerian government. So where is the crude going to come from to sustain these refineries? Are we going to buy back from those to whom we have committed crude? And that leads to the next question, because the ordinary Nigerian would think that, if Warri Refinery is now working Port Harcourt Refinery is now working. Maybe that will bring down the pump price of fuel. That's the ordinary man. We, the ordinary people of Nigeria, that is our expectation. But no ordinary Nigerian should think that that will happen. But we'll see how they do the engineering part of it, how they get the crude, and at whatever cost. Because cost will determine the price at which we buy fuel at the pump in the various fuel stations in the country. So good news, but there are other gray areas, there are other challenges ahead. How government resolves those challenges remains to be seen.
Absolutely. I'm definitely in one accord with my colleagues in studio this morning. Of course, we know that the road to economic recovery is going to rely on a number of factors. One of the major factors, of course, is inflation reduction. And we know that the fuel price is one of the major push factors with regards to the runaway inflation rate that we're currently seeing. So this refinery coming on board should be cheery news. However, Mele Kyari has expressed that it's only 60% operational. The 60% includes AGO, naphtha, and a number of other products, AGO being diesel, but excludes PMS. So the Warri Refinery is not yet able to churn out petroleum into the market. And we look forward to that other 40% that will account for, we hope, the PMS output into the market, because that's what we would really feel in our pockets is when there is an increase in supply in PMS. Now, the history of Warri Refinery is quite a colorful one. When you look at it since its inception in 1978 until date, it has shut down and been reopened countless times. Even if you look at the international press and you look at Reuters reporting on the Warri Refinery, it's a series of reports of shutdown and reopening, shutdown and reopening. So I became curious, why does it constantly shut down? A number of the issues are technical. In some instances, there have been fires. In some instances, some of the mechanical and engineering aspects have shut down. But one of the major things is crude oil, as Dr. Abati very correctly said. Feedstock is a major challenge. And we've seen that feedstock is not just a major challenge for state-owned refineries, but it's also a major challenge for private entities. The Dangote Refinery, of course, exposed this in a huge way this year. However, there are other smaller modular refineries that don't have the PR muscle of Dangote Refinery. Edo, the one in Edo, for example, who are also struggling to get crude oil feedstock to keep their supplies going. Now, Warri Refinery, I believe, needs 25 days worth of crude oil for it to be able to continue to function. But the question is, where is the crude oil going to come from when all of it is committed? Now, I'll just mention just a few of the commitments that we have, which amount to over $6 billion in loans over a period of 3 years. There's Project Gazelle, which is the AfricZim project, Project Bison, Project Eagle, which is also known as Project Eagle Subsequent. Project Leopard is the latest one, where NNPC is looking to borrow $2 billion, which is crude-backed. So our oil is committed. So the question is sustainability. How are we going to prevent all of the past shutdowns and reopenings that we've seen historically with Warri Refinery? So is it really big news that the refinery has been reopened? Not really, because if you do a quick Google search, you'll find that this refinery has been reopened so many times over the past 10 years. However, now we look to see whether the sustainability issues have truly been addressed, as they say the PIA has led to the addressing of many of these issues.